Hello, hello, hello. Sorry about that. How's everyone doing? In the chat, right where you're coming from? Hello, hello, hello. All right, this is going to be an hour-long presentation. I just want to make sure that everything goes well. I'll be looking at the chat, and along with that, I'll be answering some of the questions that people have messaged me in the chat and had texted me on my phone and on Instagram. This is going to be a fun experience for everyone. Especially for me. I just remember starting my business plan at age 16, as you're reading the description. I started my business plan journey at age 16, and believe it or not, B Perry Films is about five business plans in one. Started out with dance, started out with film, then got into marketing. It just seemed like the older I got, the more wiser I became, and the more that I wanted to do. And I believe that this platform gives me an opportunity to be creative with myself and not feel like I have to be perfect all the time, even though I strive all the time to be. Um, for those of you who don't know, B. Perry Films is broken into two different companies. So B. Perry Films works with established businesses, whether you're a content creator, a business owner, or even a creative artist. That can include dancers, actors, producers. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, Christina, for joining. There's going to be more people joining as we continue. Um, Sorry that we started late. It was a lot of configuring. You know how Zoom and YouTube get a lot of configuring, making sure that you're the right person, just verifying, stuff like that. Then we have the Artistic Creator Academy side where it focuses on helping people with the foundation of their business, beginning to create structure. Like I said, you might have a business plan that you first initially started, but you're just turning it into a, you turned it from just an idea into a hobby, and now you're trying to turn it into a business because you have clientele. And believe it or not, when you start making revenue, or even if you have an idea, it's already a business just set in stone, but it's just you putting in the money and creating the right network to partner with. I know that there's a lot of people that you can't trust initially off the bat because being a face of something is a lot of responsibility. It's like being a parent, and your business is that baby that you're learning to take care of. And it's gonna either go uphill, downhill. It's gonna go on this roller coaster ride. And I always tell people in my courses and my webinar presentations that if you have a straight path, you're not growing. But you want to have ups and downs, dips and curves, sometimes go around in a circle, but you don't want to repeat yourself too much where you're not learning and you're not executing to your fullest potential. I think it's important for creatives, business owners to take ownership of their art, their craft. And my goal for this business is to bring back storytelling into film and also into creation because everyone's so focused on having the most successful song, the best film ever. But if you don't personally feel like it's rewarding to you, then it's kind of like a loss, even though that you have all that success. But it shouldn't have to do with you getting some type of award or getting validation. It should be all internal. Because at the end of the day, you have to go home happy, you have to go home sad, you got to go home angry and go continue on for the next day and not rub it off on your clients because they're not going to want to do business with you. So always keep that in mind when you're starting a business or getting the right proper mindset. And always look for people who have like certificates, awards, establishments, testimonies, because these are going to be your guides to having your successful business. I think it's important for us to Not think of what other people think, but think about what you believe in. What are your values and what's your testimony and your growth? You can set a goal at the beginning of the year, and the first month goes good, the second month goes better, and then all of a sudden it starts drifting off because you don't have any accountability. Some people believe that you need an accountability partner to keep accountable for your actions, but for me, I felt no success with accountability partners. I think the longest I ever had one was maybe 2 months because they felt overwhelmed with everything that they were doing, and I'm just like, we're all gonna feel overwhelmed, so I don't understand what the complexity is, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. And sometimes you have to let go of some of those relationships. You can eventually partner up in the future, but you can tell that this person isn't really serious about putting their foot forward. So I'll answer some questions that people may have. So drop your questions in the chat. I'm gonna read off some posts that people left on Instagram and Facebook. So give me one moment. What is the biggest challenge when you started? I think the biggest hurdle is finding balance. I remember, I think it was episode 3 or 6, and someone was saying, "You do all this great work. Do you ever take the time to relax and journal and just go on vacation and just not think about work?" And that actually got me to thinking. I actually attempted journaling. I did it at least twice a month. I could commit to that. Weekly, that was just too much and it felt overbearing, but I stay committed to it. I use a platform called Notion. If you haven't heard of it, I'll put some links in the description box when the replay is available. But what I thought of is that journaling can be useful and sometimes it can be overbearing for many people. I think it's important for us to find things that we're good at, find things that we're not good at, and try to slowly improve it. So I created a concept called Goals Pro this year, and it was effective for me, and it helped me streamline my goals for the year, for the quarter, for the 12 months, and then also for the weeks. And I felt like when I did a to-do list, I had about 12 things that I would do for the month. And they didn't have to be done in that whole week, but they had to be completed by the end of the month. And I would just basically recap it and see how I can maneuver. We'll say like financially being stable. Okay, identify what are my debts. I got student loans, I have rent, I have cable bills, I have subscriptions, I have phone bill, I have business bills, business expenses, collaborations, and what's going to be some of my assets coming in. Brand deals, collaborations, networking, going to social gatherings, putting my business card out there. For anyone that's looking for my links and stuff, I'll put it in the chat. I meant to put it in the description. Give me one second. But you just have to find systems that work for you. Like I said, the Ghost Pro method works best for me because I understand what I'm getting myself into. Because I know that if I set reasonable goals and reasonable tasks, I can achieve my goals a lot faster and a lot quicker. And I can become more self-efficient at the things that I do, the things that I'm passionate about, the things that I want to enjoy and be a part of. Yes, people are very judgmental when it comes to starting your business. People think, okay, what's your network? How many employees do you have? How you're running this? Do you have any testimonies? Do you have a website? Believe it or not, I did not have a website for 6 months. And I was just like, let me build up my audience on YouTube because I'm like, there's no purpose of paying what, 300, 400 to $1,000 for a website each year, plus the add-on fees that they don't tell you about. it became really expensive. Let me tell you, my monthly expense for marketing and websites and all that is about $400, if not more. And that's not counting all the extra softwares that I have to put in, and it gets really expensive. I did put my link in the description. It's to my link tree. And then also I have a link pop account if you want to sign up for some courses that I have that are available. But like I said, the hardest thing is just getting started, getting out of that mindset that I have to be in control over everything, I have to know everything. But if you know everything, how are you learning? How are you slowly improving? Beware of people that sound like con artists because they really are. Make sure that you vet people. Make sure that you become in tune with your intuition. If something gives you red flags, move on it right away. Like for me personally, when a brand is late on payment, that gives me a red flag that they're always gonna be late. Um, Charging for your podcast, making sure that people show up because when you do things for free, because it's your friend, your family, you trust these people, these are your connections, they're just gonna push you to the side. They're gonna not show up, and then you still have a video to record that's due on whatever date that you normally post. People are gonna be thinking, oh, they skipped a week, oh, this and that. But it's important for us to really deep dive, become accountable, be in the moment, and be true to ourselves. Because if we're not true to ourselves, we can't, like I said, move forward. You take a course, you can't expect them to give you all the answers because everyone's strategic journey is going to be different. That's why I created the course Create an Effective Business Plan. By module 4, you're going to realize that starting a business is either for you or it's going to work against you. People just don't like spending their own money, but they want you to pay for their own stuff. But I'd rather have someone that said that they paid $1,000 for software, high-end quality, make sure that they got the trademarks, their copyrights, their patents, everything protected. That makes me in peace of mind. There's a good enough amount of people watching right now. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. What would I have done differently that I know now? Um, Well, people think because you have this face, skin tone anyways, that you're gonna have a lot of support from that community. You're really not. Everybody's like a crab in a barrel trying to be the first at everything. But why is it always a competition? Why can't we collaborate? Why can't we be one and stop looking at people just because of their skin tone, their religion, their beliefs, and so on and continue? It just comes up with a lot of excuses. So I think if you're going to be a black owned, Asian owned, white owned business, be prepared for anything. If you decide that you want to do a partnership with someone, make sure that the percentages are right because it's a financial thing. If it's 50-50, they need to be doing 50-50 work. If they're making 80%, someone else is making 20%, be prepared to do more work if you're getting that 80%. And then if you're getting paid 20%, do what you're told that you're going to be doing. Whether you're a secretary, a person who does the finances, the bookkeeping, the marketing, the deliverables. Um, it's a lot of factors that go in. Like right now, I have one employee. His name is Atif. We've been working together for the past 3 years. He's been a graphic designer for the artistic creator time. So we have so many projects that we're working on currently that I can't wait to announce, but there is going to be a new course that is coming out pretty soon. So make sure that you sign up for my email list. Use one of those links and you'll be able to join. I'll be notifying people very soon on what's coming up. And then I have a new podcast called Understanding Healthy Hair, where I'll be interviewing cosmetologists for the first 2 seasons. Um, I will be posting up pretty soon when it's time for registration. And yes, I do charge for them to be a part of it, and it covers a lot of the marketing fees and also all the expenses that occur with my recurring expenses that are keeping this company alive, whether it's getting new cameras, new computers, new lighting, everything is changing, new platform. I've been testing out Riverside with my co-host, Brian Simmons. We have a podcast together called Two Perspectives Podcast, and he is filled with so much wisdom, so much insight, and we don't mind having good banter with each other. That means good communication and dialogue where we disagree on certain things, and sometimes we agree on certain things. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes somebody might get offended, but we're just telling our truths, our perspectives, our research, and we want people to join a part of it. So I definitely encourage you guys to follow us on this YouTube channel, B Perry Films Experience. Don't follow the B Perry Films YouTube page because that's no longer here anymore. Yes, I know, so sad, but it got shadow banned. I don't know how. When there's no swearing, nobody got offended. It was a very peaceful site. But somehow YouTube goes from showing me a lot of views to turning it back to zero, get a 50 views, go back to zero. And I'm just like, I'm tired of this going back and forth. I'm like, what's really going on? It becomes overwhelming. For mental health, that's a good question. Zero, considering this is your fourth year, do you ever do anything on mental health? Do you mean like podcast episodes or do you mean for my experience? If you mean from my experience, I go on vacations every so often. I try to zoom out. I batch record. I think my limit on making videos is about three. I try to do four and I almost passed out. And plus, I was recording a live cohort of Create an Effective Business Plan, and each session was 2.5 hours on top of my schedule of having to record for B Perry Films, newsletters, TikTok, Instagram. It was a lot. And eventually I did burn out. So actually, when I went on vacation for my birthday, I went on a work-life balance retreat and where I just kind of zoned out. We still got work done, but it was mainly focused on relaxation, being around people that I love, being around family, friends, loved ones, and it just felt like I was back to my normal self. And sometimes you need those breaks, but people just want you to keep delivering work. Like, look at Tyler Perry. I know he's burnt out. He writes about, I think he said like 90 scripts a year. It's a lot. And people don't realize how much effort he puts into each production. So when people say he's very aggressive in his personality, just think of what labor and everything that you have to go through. For the podcast, I have how many series do I have? I have Grow SMMA, where I talk about social media marketing and quick bites. I have that on TikTok and Instagram. We have social impact, where I talk about triggering topics and get people to exchange dialogue, whether it's about mental health, finding balance, enjoying your peaceful day, things that are going on in the economy, supporting one another. It's such a strong community there on TikTok. Definitely follow me on there, and that's at B Perry Films for that one. Um, then we have B Perry Films podcast, where it's just about entrepreneurship and lifestyle and getting people who are working professionals to share dialogue with me to help me better understand their perspectives a little bit better. And then we have two perspectives podcasts. I believe that's number four. Like I said, it's about me and Brian sharing our experiences and exchanging dialogue, and hopefully we come to an agreement, or hopefully we get other people that view the podcast to just deep dive into their own experience. And then we have Understanding Healthy Hair, where we're trying to bring back the understanding of hair complexity, hair health, hair journeys, and talk about the different traumas that we have with our hair, whether it's heat damage, color damage, porosities, different hair types, all those things are being brought to the forefront. And it's very important. And it's sometimes that people overlook it. They're just like, I want to weave, I want a wig, and then neglecting their strands. And they wonder why that they have to cut off so many inches. Well, if you are calling it a protective style, you still have to treat it like it's your normal hair and the hair that's underneath. You still got to wash it. You got to condition it. You got to spray it. You got to put oils in it. You got to style it. You just can't go to the salon 1 month and think that same hairstyle is going to look good and be like trying to badmouth the stylist. Did you do the upkeep? Did you wrap it up? Did you put in the rollers? Did you do the things that you're supposed to do that the stylist told you to do? All those things are very important. So as I'm starting my journey into cosmetology, actually I was always fascinated with hair, but I thought since I was able to grow my hair from heat damage and it's strong and healthy, I do get trims at least 2 to 3 times a year. And keeping it healthy, it's not just the products, it's about how you apply it. Pay attention to your scalp, pay attention to those strands. If you see split ends or fairy knots, cut them off right away because it's just going to keep going up the shaft and you're just going to end up with no hair. And you're going to wake up one day and your hair's going to be on the floor and you're going to be like, what happened? You know, it's just all those different things. And I'm going to be partnering with a ton of brands. Like I said, I'm getting so much support with understanding healthy hair. Once that series starts, I'll let you know, but it's going to be definitely this third quarter it will launch. So keep tuned. I'm taking people for the first 2 seasons. I think each season will have about 8 to 10 episodes, and there will be a little fun videos in between to keep people up to date. So if you haven't seen one of the episodes for Understanding Healthy Hair, check it out on this channel right here on YouTube. And then I also decided, since people are always asking me about my outfits and asking me about the different hairstyles that I've been doing with my stylist, we decided that we were going to start a separate TikTok and call it Be Styled One. And you're just like, what happened to Be Styled? Well, someone owned that name, so we just added the one. Well, how I end up picking business names is that I check if there's a trademark pending or if it's been abandoned. When was the last time it was active? Are these people still posting? Right before I try to take the name or create a name and all that thing and all those sorts. Um, Someone asks, how did we discover B. Perry Films as a name? Well, we went through 10 names on the books. Believe it or not, when you look up my company, it's not actually B. Perry Films, what it's registered under, but it's a DBA because there were so many names that were taken already between B. Perry Productions, BP Productions, LLCs, S Corps, sole proprietors, so many different things were just taking. But how I started my business is that I wanted to make sure that I had protection. So if I were to get sued for any reason or anything gets wrong, I'm fully protected. So I made sure that I got my business registered. I do not recommend people to be a sole proprietor unless they do something like Uber. But if you have real estate or equipment and stuff like that, especially as a photographer, a filmmaker, if you have a building, something that has like a lot of expenses, make sure that you get an LLC or corporation, S corp, partnerships. There's so many different entities that are out there, but people just mainly talk about sole proprietor, LLC, multi-member LLC, S corps, and C corps. So yeah, so many names. I know it's a lot. All right, next question. What is the advice for someone wanting to start a business like yours? I think my DM for, I trying to pronounce the word. What makes mine different from everyone else's is that my company is the first identity neutral and we don't think of this person is black, we gotta hire them. This person's Asian, let's hire them. Oh, this person has this degree, let's hire them. I'm more focused on can they complete the task? Do they have a good heart? Do they have a passion for helping others? And what is their experience really like? What motivated them from day one to currently to this day, and can they be trained to be even better? The main thing is can they be trained, and are they gonna ease the workflow for me? Because sometimes when you hire people, especially someone like me who is a type A, I'm very punctual. I am very alert, direct, all those things, and it requires me to have a lot of patience, but I have a lot of tight deadlines. I think the longest that I spend on an episode and recording and all that is maybe 3 days because I'm constantly always going and I'm a fast reader and I make sure that I understand what I'm reading before I present it to you guys. So I don't always have to use the words allegedly. Like, if I want to talk about finance, bookkeeping and all that other than outside of QuickBooks, I would get someone from either Citizens Bank, Chase Bank, or someone like that, someone who studies the books to help you get the advice that you need. Yeah, it's a lot of information that's out there. How do you become pandemic proof? Constantly working, having access to a computer, having access to the internet, being able to afford your bills, plan ahead, don't go on vacations unless if it's necessary, until you feel like you can pay at least 2 months of your monthly expenses. Because what if you lose your job like had in the past, due to different circumstances of the economy of COVID? It gave me a real life perspective that not every job that you get is guaranteed, no matter what industry it is, no matter if it's tech, no matter if it's content creation. Like, look at everyone that was on TikTok. When they heard that it was getting banned, people were just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it did for 14 hours, and people went crazy. People are losing a lot of money. Now I don't think you can get monetized on a platform unless if it's through a third party. It's a lot. Let me see. What platform should you join? Um, it's biasly up to you. If you know you can talk and not ramble, YouTube is a great platform. If you want more engagement and real life, real time perspective, I definitely recommend TikTok. I'm not too familiar with Twitch, but that's good for like if you're gamers. I know a lot of people are getting a Nintendo Switch too. I got my hands on it. That's for another story, but I'm grateful that I got mine launch day. Can't wait to use it, and I'm gonna do an unboxing video. Hopefully, have it posted for next week, this week coming. And I hope you all enjoy. I'm probably gonna do 3 videos on unboxing. Uh, Probably a review of using it for the month to see if it'll change my perspective of being a non-gamer to an actual gamer. I think the last time I played a Nintendo game was on a Nintendo DS, and it was a great time on that. And the most recent platform that I ever got was a PlayStation 4. But people ask me all the time, how you gonna manage playing the game while doing all the things that you do because you're constantly busy? And I'm just like, I'll figure it out like everything else. It's only up to me because I have to justify that it's worth the investment. Because $500, it's not exactly steep, but that's the price that we're definitely going to get. And I heard that the Switch is going to go up at least by 100 or $200 in the next couple months. So if you haven't got yours, I would get it now while it's in store or online. I was one of the lucky people to get it online. Let's see what other questions that we have. Another one on social media. What platforms did you start with? I started out on Instagram just to post highlights of what I'm doing. some collaborations. I did do a few lives. Funny thing going live, especially on using TikTok because I was a late adopter to it. Um, you can see me on a platform at real time, and I'm just like, how do you do this? Or use this button. How do I reply to comments? Okay, forget writing back to the person. Let's just bring them up live or answer the question right away or answer the comment, have a clear discussion. It's like a strong community on there. I know people ask me all the time, and I wrote in a video, how do I get so many views? I think it's a mixture of SEO. So if you're a digital marketer, we specialize in having creative text. So making sure that you're strong in copywriting. Copywriting is basically how you turn words and phrases into complete sentences to convey people to understand your message. It's like the same thing as music, dance. We're taking a lot of notes. And once you rank, it just goes up from there and it's not just your tabs. So I'm just going to summarize what you said in the chat. When you started your business, you had a lot of support from friends and family and people around you. And now it felt like basically you weren't getting support from certain people, people that you love and trust. And that can be understandable because not everyone understands your vision. Not everyone's going to understand what an entrepreneur is. Not everyone's going to understand what a creative is. Because I remember when my uncle said to me after I put on some productions at home, costumes, lighting, everything, financed by me, choreography done by me also. He said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" I said, "I want to be a choreographer. I want to be just like Alvin Ailey." And he said, "How are you going to do that if you're shy? There's no such thing as a shy dancer." Well, believe it or not, even Beyonce is a shy performer. Tyler Perry is a shy performer. They have this thing about them where they're conservative in real life, but when they're out in their element, they're just imagining that no one's there. Well, they know that people are there, but they're just imagining themselves in rehearsal and they're just giving it their all. I know for me, when I first started out in dance, I was a shy dancer. How I dance in a dance studio is a lot different from how I dance on stage. I felt like I wasn't always the most coordinated, but I put in a lot of effort to make sure that I mastered the rhythm, the musicality, make sure that I mirror the instructor, make sure I ask questions when necessary. Because the way that my dance crews were set up is that if you're late more than 5 minutes, you're not dancing for the day, you're sitting out. And they make you feel guilty. They're like, you know what you just did? And you're just like, no, what did I do? Well, you made the group fail. You made the group feel like you don't care and that you don't want to be a part of this. And it felt like I was letting my team down if I was ever late. So I'm very punctual. I'm actually one of those people where after a certain time, I lock the door. Don't knock because we know that you're there, but we'll bring you in. You're going to write notes, and then it's up to the group to decide if you're going to continue dancing with us today or if you're done from the program. Because most of the time, I only have 3 days to rehearse for a show, and it has to be getting ready for stage for tech rehearsals. And if things aren't together and smooth, it's going to be a reflection of me as a choreographer. So I have to make sure that I am confident in myself and I believe in my crew, and they are going to put on the best presentation that we can put. I work with a lot of designers. Um, I do my own audio visuals, so I have engineers that put the stages together. We have a lot of moving parts, and people know that it's crunch time when it comes to me. I think my dance pieces are very important to the group and collective because it makes a difference. Because people know that I always put on a great show. People leave with a great feeling, a better understanding of the world and how everything is perceived. And believe it or not, I think I'm a sociologist. I look at people's beliefs and behaviors and try to figure out why people behave the way that they do. It's like, why are you donating to this cause? What is making people angry? What makes people sad? When do we ever show empathy for people other than sympathy? How can we relate to our audience? And being in that creative flow, I like being in the audience. I want to feel what they feel. I sit in different areas. I want to map out the stage. I want blueprints. I want to make sure that every lighting, every cue is to a T, that we can do this in our sleep. And that is what's important to me. And the flowers and all the appreciation, that is so great. It gives me some fulfillment, but I'm always focused on the next project. So I'm not always in the moment, and I'm learning to be grateful for being in a moment and having a career as long as I have. And I started in the dance industry since I was 3 years old. And believe it or not, Elliott Church School was one of the biggest milestones in my career because it allowed me to find my art and being able to dance, being able to act, and just give off that love and affection is all I always wanted to do. Because I just imagine if Martin Luther King or Alvin Ailey were still alive, they would want to know what is their why, what is their purpose, and what is the world coming to. And there's a lot of things going on with election, tariffs, job insecurity, finances going up, everything's going up. It's a lot to deal with. So don't feel like you're alone. You have my support. You have everyone that's in this chat support. Everyone's going to be watching you. And believe it or not, people might subscribe to your YouTube channel if you have one, or even your TikTok. Mm-mm-mm. Drop any other questions that you may have, and I'll try to search up some more. I meant to make a copy of everything, but I didn't have enough time within the day. What is my favorite part about productions? I think creating is the best part. I used to have dreams when I was little of what I want my next piece to be about. I would go on YouTube, Apple Music, or iTunes at the time, and I would just go through different tracks. People from different countries, different sounds, whether it's rock, R&B, jazz, classical, just different types of music. I didn't want to look at anyone else's choreography because at this point, everyone's choreography looks the same nowadays that I look on YouTube. But we didn't have things called influencers. We just had you were either a dancer or you were a choreographer. You were a director, you were an actor, you were a scriptwriter. We just had those basic titles. And as a choreographer, you're playing all the hats. You have to understand everything inside and out because these people are working for you and they're trying to create your vision. You, remember, you're not working for them, but they're working for you. You're giving them a paycheck. So that I want to make sure that everything is perfect. They'll suggest some ideas to make it even more crisp. And you have the idea to either let it go or take their idea for fruition and hopefully it comes out. But I think when you're in that zone, you block out all that noise. In high school, they will say to all of you who watch this, I was never really in a cafeteria. I think I would eat for 5 minutes and I would hop in the dance studio. Where's Bobby at? In a dance studio, where's Bobby at? In a meeting, same thing in college. Um, I think it I think it was a lot to do with me just trying to be like Ailey, and I just realized when I got older, especially this year, I'm like, why am I trying to be like someone and why can't I be better? Because everyone has a benchmark. I think right now it's Taylor Swift. Like no one racks up as many tickets for a show and makes as much money as she does when it comes to music. Second would be Rihanna. But the legacy that she had put for people in my age group has given true testimony. And I think she's a great example of what you're feeling like when you feel like people don't believe in you, people don't support you. Let me tell you, a lot of people hated her when she first came out because she would talk about relationships, toxic men in her life or other people's lives and get inspiration, but listen to all the music that we listen to. R&B talks about the same stuff, but it might be a man singing it, or it could be another woman singing. Is it because she's white, or do we think that she has like some type of privilege? But believe it or not, if you're consistent like she is, going to rehearsals, script writing throughout the day, writing down notes. Like I feel like she's a great example of a journalist. Like she'll take some notes and she's always finding ways to remaster her art. And then we have the Cowboy Carter tour. I think it's doing pretty well. Um, but we always have to ask when we become at this high level, what do we want more? Is it power? Is it more money? And sometimes it doesn't always translate to people. Sometimes it just becomes a burden. What was my first partnership? My first partnership was QuickBooks. Um, QuickBooks actually reached out to me. They said, we love your content, especially about finance, and we love how you keep up to date with your finances. So we want to sponsor some of your content, whether it's your blog posts, your videos, newsletters, just keep people informed on what we have. They talk about having bookkeeping software, um, having good deals when it comes to when you first start, and also you can level up as your business progresses. They have a cheaper plan, but it may not have all the features that you're looking for. Another brand was WeWork. It's funny because I was working on my business plan 2 months prior to when I started at WeWork. Um, and I was just going there on 5 days a week. I was there on a weekend. Very few people were there on a weekend. I had all access pass, and I got to meet different CEOs, different networks, go to community gatherings, learn about different foods, learn about people on a deeper level, host my own presentations there. I hosted my first live webinar presentation while speaking engagement because it was in front of people, and it felt really good. And fast forward into now, I was reached out by my college, Dean College, to come speak at a Black Summit event. And it was basically the students of color who were stepping out to see how they could showcase their art as being a Black individual. And they wanted me to talk about the Black experience. And I said, I can't, me personally, talk about the Black experience because there's so many experiences, but I can speak about art through an identity lens. And the presentation went really well. I thought it went really well. But yeah, you just have to figure out what networks work for you and finding your own identity within your art. Mine was always dance, but people were just like, wow, you're really a good storyteller. And I thought, why not incorporate film because I already do visuals. and I worked for a cable station called the Boston Neighborhood Network, located in Eggleston. And they gave me an opportunity to become a director, a writer, outsourced to creating creating businesses and building communities that are, I want to say that they were struggling, but a lot of non-for-profits. When I say struggling, I mean for non-for-profits, the only way that you can sustain is if people are contributing to your business. It is important for us to build relationships with people around us because they will help finance or give you networks to that business. And that's what it's all about. But yes, that was a really good question. Like I said, I just want to be as detailed as possible when it comes to answering these questions because I think everyone has a story. Everyone has an experience, and that is part of your journey. And no one can take that away from you. This was a really good question that someone asked me yesterday. How do you find money and how do you find funds and resources? You have to put yourself out there. Believe it or not, you have to do a lot of things for free when you first start. Building that network, doing internships, doing temporary workshops, whether you're doing a contract, like it's a temporary, but in that contract that you do, it could be for 3 months, shadowing underneath someone. You could be hosting events. You could be networking with people that attend, people that know, and people that you want to explore under different perspectives with. Because one connection could turn into three other connections. Those three might know another three. So you could send referrals. And a lot of companies are doing affiliate links. I know that you guys heard of those where people get paid a commission based off of them sharing information about your work, and then you give them a small commission, whether it be like 5 or 10% or a flat fee. And that helps you build your network and your clientele. Are these people influencers? No, these are people that have taken your experience on and they have seen progress through your work. And they're sharing their experience with other people, and people are just like, oh, okay, I trust this person. And there you go. You have another connection. Am I still selling the Artistic Creator Academy? I mean, not the Artistic Creator Academy. Am I still selling Create an Effective Business Plan? Yes, it's currently available, and we are doing some fine tuning to it to make it more polished. More lessons are being added and more thorough. And yes, it's very efficient and very I would just say that you can come in with the course of saying I'm a master of this business plan and then actually doing the work that goes involved with it. You can be that idealist and you're going to turn into an implementer. Maybe your implementation stops by module 8, but it's just at a pause because you're realizing that you don't have enough time or you're just not ready yet. But in the last two modules, you're going to learn that you can do this, you're in control, but you're going at your own pace. It might take you 4 months, it might take you 6 months, but you have access to this course for a whole year. So make sure that you feel more confident, make sure that you feel more loved and feeling more cherished at the things and the quality of actions that you're going to take on. The new course that I'm creating is called Defining CEO, which is a play on of, like I said earlier, of what is a CEO, what is an entrepreneur, what is an artistic creator, what is a composer, and we are making this into a solid thing. This is more than just a fancy title, but this is the actual work that we're going to be implementing, what we're going to be testing out for our own selves. So you can either take it as introduction to create an effective business plan, or you can take it after. I recommend taking it after because the material will sound familiar and it makes you more efficient at the things that you're trying to do in the future. It's definitely heavy on the writing, so be prepared for that. But that's what all content creation is. That's what being a CEO is. That's what an entrepreneur does. They do a lot of writing, they do a lot of networking, they do a lot of finance. A lot of those things are being applied every single day. You're learning things every single day. You're going to have those highs, you're going to have those lows, but that's your opportunity to do better. So we got about 7 more minutes on the clock. So if anyone has any more questions, please speak up now. I know someone asked me what are some sponsors that I would like to collaborate in the next future. Probably Sacred because I've been wanting this company to be in existence for the past 10 years and it came into fruition. Um, Apple, I love the storytelling and being able to working with so many professionals. There's a ton of hair care brands that I want to work with, like Ulta, Sephora, just naming a few. There's so many networks. And there are some partnerships that are still pending and will be disclosed in the next couple of months. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, this presentation has been fun. I feel like you guys asked amazing questions. I feel more in tune with my profession and the things that I want to accomplish. And I hope all the lessons that you learned in here will be transferable in your department. And yeah, like I said, if you want to do a partnership with someone, make sure that everybody knows their role and their expectations because partnerships don't really last that long. So make sure that everyone is protected. Make sure that everybody is knowledgeable and can take full responsibility for the things that they do. What is my favorite service? My favorite service is it was the podcast, but I enjoy the webinar presentations. This is the only time that I really get to engage with my clients, and a lot of them come to events. I think someone's on a 6 webinar streak out of the 24 that I hosted so far, and I'm really proud of that person. They really work hard. It could be 6 or 7, but they come to a lot of the presentations and just seeing how their business started from when I first met them to now, they will tell you sign up for the courses and stuff because you'll get even more information, you'll get even more support, and you get to join their community. It's all part of the experience. All right, so we'll wrap up. So thank you all for coming. The weather is terrible here in Boston, Massachusetts, but hopefully it will slowly improve. Hopefully we'll get some sun rays with some cool air. But I just want you guys to feel that you are supported, you are loved, and cherish every moment that you get to have. Starting a business is not about how you start, it's about how you finish and how you continue to grow and build that community. Be on social media if you need to. Build that network that you need to. Find that funding that you need to. That's all a part of that experience. And I want to say thank you all for coming. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Signing out now. 1 second. Yeah, feel free to click on any of those links. Sign up for my courses if you want. Like I said, it's full of knowledge, full of expertise. It's your experience. Like I said, it's a lot that goes into running a business, but that's your journey. All right. Trying to close out. Give me one moment.